and call the meeting to order at 7:06 p.m. We can just tell Tom that it's good.
Tom, everything's good. Goodbye.
Okay. All right. So the first item on the agenda of this special meeting is to accept the minutes from our July 13th meeting. It's been a while. So I don't know if you had a chance to read through them and remember what we did back in July. Does anyone have any amendments to make to these minutes? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I'm good.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Thanks, Melissa. Any second? Thanks, Mike. All in favor, please raise your hand. And any opposed? And seeing none, that motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Since Liddy cannot join us, we will have a treasurer's report in October. So that is tabled. The next item on the agenda is public comment, and the record can reflect that there are no members of the public here with us tonight. And we'll go right into our discussion items. So it is shaping up to be a climate fall, as I've called it, with many climate change themed events to help raise awareness within the community and to troubleshoot and think about things that we might be able to do together. So the very first on our agenda is the Green Energy Initiative, which Wendy and her group have put together, which will be held on October 15th, which is I can't remember, Saturday or Sunday.
That's a Saturday.
Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. And Wendy, why don't we have you talk about it?
Okay. I sent you, I guess Carol forwarded a copy of the summary form of the Green Energy Report for Kent, which tells you everything about how much electricity, how much oil, how much gas, how much everything we use right now, what the size of our carbon footprint. I sent you the preliminary thing. I now have the final version, which I will forward to everybody later. It fleshes out on every page a different aspect of our energy use and what it costs us and how many tons of bad stuff we get. And that will be the sort of baseline that we will present at the conference when we have it, sort of the opening gun, which tells everybody where we are. And then we go on to tell them what the many options are that are out there. And we plan to have tables in the lobby so that people can sign up for an energy audit, or they can chat with somebody who's a specialist in heat pumps or batteries or solar or anything. I think it's going to be a very good program. And a little added bonus is the day before the program, Kent Center School is going to put on, going to introduce to the kids, I guess in a sixth, seventh, eighth grade, I'm not sure, a book that I picked up at a recent book signing. It's called something like the how to have a climate club. And it will show the kids how they can get involved in energy on a child's level, what they can do for recycling, for not wasting, et cetera, et cetera. And the writer she lives in Avon. She's going to come over. It was just a wonderful coincidence of timing that she could be here on that day. But so the kids will go home with conservation and energy on their minds on Friday, the day before our conference. I would also mention that we have a poster which is just being printed, and we will be putting it up. It's a very handsome poster with a big sunflower on it from a 16th century horticultural book but it has been changed to show the relevance of the sun to anything you want to plug in. So I think you'll get the message. We'll be putting those posters up all over the place. I think that's really all I need to say today. But I will forward you I think it's probably an 8 or 10 page energy analysis of Kent as it is today. It's all based on information that's in the grand list. And they've done this for 100 and some towns in Connecticut, but most of us have never seen them. And it will provide us with a lot of really interesting information.
So would it be useful, do you think, to post this publicly, either shared out on our Facebook page or somehow get the town to put it up on our website? Or
yeah, I
did
think
already.
that would be. I think maybe not quite yet.
We did already. You sent it to me and we've posted it already.
Oh, you did?
It's pinned on our page.
Did you get the full one or just the outline one?
You sent me write-up and you sent me the poster.
Oh, the
And
poster.
I wrote the write-up and the poster, and then it also went to the town. You told me to send it over to the town.
Yeah, but I said the poster was a placeholder until we got our real poster.
Yep, you can send me the new poster and I can sub it in, but it's up there.
What Connie's talking about now is the Kent's expenditures of energy.
the baseline report?
Baseline report, which they just gave me today.
If you want to send that to me with a way to put it up on our social, and I can link it on our conservation, but I need to know how to do it. Like,
It'll be a PDF, so it probably needs to live somewhere. We could link to our homepage, KCC homepage, maybe in the Facebook. I don't know how else you would link to a PDF through Facebook, but I'm fairly certain there's a way to do it, and it might be helpful for people to have that prior to the program because they could read through it themselves.
Yeah, that would be good.
I mean, I think I can probably put it even on my own Google Drive as a open, and then just post it into the comments of the actual poster, so that when people read through what Wendy wrote up and the poster, then they can say, I can see more information in the comments.
Yeah, because it's nice to have access to that professionally prepared report. And Wendy, I have a question for you, because we were talking about a group of Greenprint people were on a workshop yesterday that was about climate action in land specifically. It's really interesting. But we were talking about greenhouse gas analyses, and the EPA has a tool. Do you know, how close is that baseline report to, when people say GHG, analysis? Is that the same thing? Do you have any idea?
Well, this is probably it's different because this one uses the data that's right in the Kent grand list. And I don't think the EPA, they would have to have it generalized.
Yeah. I think my sense is it's probably more like like your own carbon footprint, probably.
Yeah, probably. But I want to just stress that while it is very, very detailed, for example, it says there are 9 heat pumps in Kent. We know that's not right. But some people, that information isn't necessarily given to the grand list. They quantify how many generators there are in Kent, but something like a heat pump, which was not really known much about until recently, was probably never reported. I don't think they know how many people have air conditioning, central air conditioning, but they might not know something. So we're not saying this is 100% correct, but it's damn close to it.
Really interesting. Okay.
Are you going to announce it also in like the Lakeville Journal?
You're asking me if it's going to go there? I have already alerted
if you're going
them.
to announce it in Lakeville Journal.
Yeah, I've sent a note off to their editor-in-chief yesterday, said that I'd be sending this.
Good.
How does the town know if you have central air conditioning?
Well, I don't know, except that I think at some point
You take out a permit for electrical work, and so any kind of work like that, you had a permit taken out, and land use compiles it.
No. If you do it with a little window air conditioner, I don't think that happens. But if it's central air conditioning or it's a big unit, just as the generator, the standby generators, all, and we get taxed for those.
But they don't get taxed for solar. Or not you use it.
What?
They don't know whether or not you use it.
No, but they are going to make you pay for it anyway.
No, I know, but like in terms of the energy audit too, you know, I think it's just really interesting to be able to think about this kind of stuff. But there's no telling, you know, I mean, it would be a different analysis altogether to try and quantify the amount of energy consumed by individual, you know, central air conditioning units, for example.
Well, I think as time goes on, they will have all this. It's a little bit creepy, but they will know. And this is based on general averages. I'm sure when they find out that you have 3 computers in your house, they will then calculate how much energy that uses. But I don't think we're down to that yet.
Can they get information from Eversource?
Oh, yes.
Like how much energy each residence uses?
Well, we certainly did when we did the municipal buildings. All 13 buildings, I got their annual electric bills.
But for residences, I guess that would be too much work.
It's pretty specific, but
yeah.
But anyway, I think you'll find a lot in this that's interesting.
Yeah.
And the fact that they do all this for us for nothing is leaves me speechless.
Who are they funded by?
They're really the guys who do it out of love. I don't know. They have a little tiny budget and I don't know where it comes from. It might come from deep.
Federal and state funding for this kind of thing.
Might be.
Yeah.
But for example, we don't have any budget at all for this green energy initiative. So far, we're hoping that we'll get that grant from Eversource to pay for our posters and some print, but we don't know. In the meantime, my friends at PACE are going to pay for the bill. It's about $300 and some for the posters. So that's the story.
Wendy, as part of the discussion at the program, there'll be an update on what current grants are available from Eversource in the state.
Oh, yes.
If you want to go solar. Because I know that keeps changing, but that you will get the latest on that date.
Yeah, yeah.
Terrific.
And I'm going to send all this also to Maria Horn, so she has, you know, she knows as much as we do before she gets up on the stage. So, yeah, it's all coming together quite well. Kent School is being wonderful about this. They are just doing somersaults for us. So, all's good.
Great. Okay, well, so let's move on to the program that I know about that's next. And for all I know, there are several more. Some of you might know there's a climate change program at Lions Rock this weekend, for example, on Sunday. There's just a lot of climate stuff bubbling up all over the place, but on the continuing the theme of like things that are free, that are meant to educate the public, Common Ground with Jane Whitney, which is a television show that some of you may be familiar with, has decided to do a follow-up to its popular climate change program from last year, and they're filming it at Wamogo High School on October 30th. So it is one of those live audience types of shows. They initially connected with Steep Rock, being kind of having a Washington base, but have engaged other environmental groups around the region to come to spread the word amongst their stakeholders and also to table outside. So that promo is not quite out yet. I was on a Zoom with the folks organizing it a little earlier today, and they expect it to be out shortly, including the registration link. But from what I know, I believe that attending the show itself, being part of that live audience is free. You just need to register. There also will be a post-event reception at the Mayflower and some dinner, and I don't know the details on those things.
And that isn't free. That is not free.
Those are not free. Although I don't really know the parameters, and I don't know, I don't know the details on what will happen during those events or whether they have a purpose, in terms of the funds that'll be collected. So, all of that I'm sure will be available on the website, but not quite yet. In any case, though, the panel of people that they've described looks to be quite interesting and should bring, some national level attention to our area. So people will be thinking nationally, but hopefully acting locally. And it's a good segue between that and another environmental event, which is happening at the end of November, or kind of middle November. Douglas Brinkley is an author, award-winning, and is coming to the Kent Memorial Library to talk about his newly published book, which is called Silent Spring Revolution. Silent Spring being the book back in the 60s that really first spread the word and got many people to be involved in thinking about what man was doing to the environment. So the book itself looks a little, it's like a historical book, right? So it's mostly going to be focusing on what's happened in the past and the leaders who have called attention to conservation and gotten people energized. But still, will help us to continue the conversation of how do we treat our environment now in a way that makes it most livable for us and for the people of the future. So that is tentatively scheduled at the Kent Memorial Library for November 20th. It will be an event that's co-sponsored by us, the Conservation Commission, the library, and the Kent Land Trust, among potentially other partners. But I know us three because they reached out in order to ask for both of our endorsement. They asked me for both Kent's Land Trust and for the Conservation Commission.
Okay.
All right. Good.
Will the book be available for purchase that day?
I'm sure. I
Yeah.
feel like I heard something about it's already out at House of Books, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it said in the email.
All right. So we're going to move on to B under our discussion items, and that is the POCD. I was reminded when I read through our minutes that we haven't met since we made comments on the POCD, but the POCD subcommittee has met a couple of times, as well as presented to the P&Z as a whole. And I know that some of us on this meeting, not myself, were present during those meetings. So I would ask either Jos or Melissa, and I don't know if any of any others were on, to talk a little bit about the POCD, where it's at now, and anything else that we should discuss in this forum tonight.
Well, I can say something about they now have a final draft that is waiting for approval by the town or by us. Basically, the Planning and Zoning Commission has, I guess, approved it already, or the POCD subcommittee has approved it.
They both did.
But now it's going to a public hearing, which will be held, I think, November 10th. It had to be 65 days after their, at least 65 days after their last meeting where they approved it. So in that public hearing, everybody can give more comments. They've taken our comments into account, and they've made a number of changes to the report. I think in general, it's a really good report. You can always want a bit more detail here and there, but I guess it's long enough. And it's full of good stuff. And they took our advice. So I'm quite happy with it. Melissa, do you have more to add?
No, I was impressed that they were even able to incorporate something that Connie got very excited about and shared over to Kent Land Trust and to Matt and a couple of other things, and about the rails to trails. And that was quickly incorporated, which, you know, is exciting because it actually could mean that like Yost and I could ride our bike all the way to town in a safe manner, you know, eventually. So I just think that's exciting that they were able to take that information so quickly and agree that it was exciting news. So
would this run on the very tracks that the Housatonic Railroad uses?
Next to. It can
Next to.
actually run next to.
Oh, so they would put
that is an item on our agenda.
Okay.
So.
Down under new business. For the purposes of our meeting and this agenda item, though, you know, it sounds like the report is in really good shape and that our commission would support its adoption. I hope that, you know, that many of you can be there at that public hearing, but it seems like as a commission, we have no further need to make comments. And only maybe the comment that we support it.
And it wasn't clear to me if this was going to be a virtual meeting or is there going to be a live part to it? You know, Melissa?
I think that the hybrid meeting room is just almost ready. And so I would assume that it will be hybrid, but that's truly only an assumption.
Mm-hmm.
But that's exciting that it's that part is getting finished too.
All right, good. Well, let's move on to some updates. I know that there is a fantastic update about Kent Trails, a Hiker's Guide. And Wendy, why don't you go with that too?
Well, we got the we got the revision done and to the printer, and we have lots of copies now, and they're being distributed. There was a little announcement about it at the Land Trust event. I guess that's really all to say. It's only got a couple. It's, you know, we brought the trails up to date on so far as we know, but there's never going to be an end to this, I think. But anyway.
We also put it on our social media. So people have been coming and finding us at the farmer's market and asking where they can buy their new one, even though it said it in the post.
Oh, well.
So it's exciting. People are excited for it, which is always good to hear, that when you do a project and people genuinely are running to the store to get a copy of it, that's exciting.
How many are you printing now?
I think because the Land Trust already asked for what? You asked for 30 copies or something? And
no, we asked for 10.
Yeah, for 10, and I'm not sure we asked yet. I think we just actually only said it in a meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I think I'm guessing
you must have been eavesdropping on our staff meeting.
Liddy picked up.
Well, she could clean up the office too.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's every reason to believe that eventually we would use 30 of them. We just wanted to start with 10, sell them at the farmer's market. And, you know, it's been our practice to send them to newcomers when they arrive in town. But we just said, for starters, let's do 10.
Sure.
So if I want a new copy, do I have to go and buy one?
The House of Books and the Sports.
No, I don't think so. Listen, we're making a bunch of money off of this. I think everybody on staff ought to get a free copy. Okay. Any objection?
Will there be any trail books available at the Green Energy
Oh, that's a good idea.
event.
We probably will have them someplace. Yeah, we might. We
We
might.
could probably table there though, right? Couldn't the conservation have a table?
Sure. Sure.
And then they would be for sale there at the table?
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean,
We have a banner.
I doubt that Wendy has the availability that night to be able to.
No, of course not.
So somebody else would have to.
Oh, somebody else can do that. That's not a big thing. We even have a lot of Kent students that are going to be helping us. So, but we have to decide what price we sell it at, because we sell it for less than the bookstore and the other shop. I mean, we leave it to them to set their price.
The printing costs gone up, Wendy?
Oh,
I've heard that.
no, apparently not.
No, huh?
Amazing.
That is. All right.
So you didn't answer my question. Do I have to go buy one?
No.
Or are you all going to get
No,
one?
I'm saying,
Let's say I'm kind of uncomfortable with having this conversation in the context of a town meeting. If we're charging other people for the books, I don't know that it's appropriate for all.
we all worked
Okay,
on it. I
I'll
think.
go buy one. It's fine.
And also remember that you can always download them from our website or get them at any kiosk. And it makes a really good gift to a newcomer to town, or if you have house guests coming.
Who knew Connie could do commercials also?
Yeah, that was good.
I know, it was like right on target there.
So we're going to move into D, which is native plants and pollinator pathways. And I don't, this is just updates as needed. So I'm not sure that there is any update. And then likewise for sustainable CT.
I've been invited to go to their next meeting, which is next month sometime.
And they got a lot of their information published in the POCD. They asked for more sustainable Connecticut things in there, and they got it. So there's quite a bit in there.
Where did you see this?
In the plan of conservation development.
Oh, I see.
There's quite a bit added about
Okay.
the sustainable Connecticut.
Well, the green energy thing will be a big feature in their program. I don't know how that works, but they're planning to cite that as a major initiative. Oh, and I probably should mention that an outgrowth of this is the likelihood that Kent will create its own energy task force. A lot of towns have done that, and I have proposed that to the selectmen, and I'm doing some research to find out just which towns have which kind of committee and how they set it up. But it would not be elected, or it would not be held to freedom of information kinds of restrictions and formal meeting things. It would just take up jobs that needed to be done.
Would be like KEET that we had in the past then.
Yeah.
And energy and environmental task force.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that after a number of years that ceased to exist. So other towns that kept running, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go on to F, which is sustainable materials management in Kent. I have one small update, and that is that now that school is back in session, the WRAP program is kicking back up. There are, a couple of glitches. I was called to pick up the bags, and when I arrived at school, they were in black garbage bags as they had been. And the Big Y has told me they won't accept that anymore. They will only accept clear bags And so, you know, and one of the things that was very unfortunate to find out about at the tail end of the school year last year is that when we had been bringing down the black bags, which, you know, I was carting around in my car, huge volumes of plastic, that the Big Y was throwing them away because they hadn't told me that they needed to be in clear bags. But once I, you know, because I was upset about that, so I decided I was going to repackage what was in the black bags into clear bags. And once I started to do that, I knew why, because a lot of the material that was being collected was non-compliant. It was, you know, crunchy plastic, it was dirty plastic, it was paper, it was garbage. So anyway, I let Anstar know that it needed to be in clear. They don't have clear. I'm going to give them some of the mega amounts of clear bags that we have for our recyclable bins, or else just go and purchase some clear bags if I can get them from the hardware store. But we will, you know, that glitch aside, we'll move forward with doing the collecting of the wrap. And I don't know if anyone else has any other updates.
Did we report on that last year and get them like a planter or anything like that? Did we win anything?
We reported, and I do not know whether or not we won a planter, but they do have planters that we won in prior years.
Might be neat to put like a bench or something made out of the Trex material out in the playground at some point, even if we end up having to source it ourselves, for their contribution to the recycling efforts.
Yeah.
And are the kids still being educated about this, about the plastic and the wrap?
Part of the curriculum in Connecticut.
The what?
It's part of the Connecticut curriculum. I think it's 3rd grade.
Oh, okay.
From time to time, they have
Or Heaton Jones.
right, come and give a presentation to the grades.
Yep.
That would be a perfect segue for this new climate club that they're going to get started for the kids.
Yeah. You know, it's been a while since I've been in contact with Jennifer. You know, it was sort of the kind of thing that got bird dogged by Jean for a while, because she was working to try and get the organics program up and started. So it sort of moved from us to Sustainable CT. And I'm not really sure where the responsibility lies anymore.
I thought we were going to have somebody from,
one at a time.
Weren't we going to have somebody from Sustainable Connecticut attend our meetings, or was that just a casual thing?
Miranda was attending, but she probably just can't be there today because we moved our meeting and this is a special meeting. So.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Miranda has been faithfully attending, and I appreciate that. So
okay. I CC her on all of our correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
She also has.
Do you know if there's any
Did you say, Mike?
Mike, what did you say?
She has a more demanding work schedule now. She started another job, so I don't know if that has impacted her schedule.
Yes.
And she picked up the chairmanship of the Sustainable CT, so she's carrying a lot, and I appreciate that she's doing a lot for our town.
Yost, did you have a comment?
Well, the organics, do you know if that's moving along, if there's any progress?
I have no idea.
No, okay.
The last we heard, we were waiting for the grant to come through. We hadn't heard since then.
Who applied for that grant?
Jean.
So should somebody follow up with that? Ask her what's.
And do you all get the Regional Recycling Task Force emails every month, and we are all invited to attend any meeting of that we want. They meet on a Thursday morning once a month at 10 o'clock.
I don't get those emails.
I don't either. Where do they meet?
They meet virtually. They meet on Zoom.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I've been getting them for years. I think I just signed up right through the Regional Recycling Task Force website. It's not they shoot to have a representative of each town attending. And back when Bruce Adams was our first selectman, he had not been attending, so I started to go. And then when Jean was elected, she began going, and I stopped going because I figured we were getting the information about the Regional Recycling Task Force, and that may or may not have something to do with the fact that Jean was able to apply for this grant for organics and had been really involved in moving that along. I don't know where it is now, but I know that she was working hard on it.
Well, I'll volunteer to check with her because I think we ought to keep an eye on that.
We have had it on the agenda for years.
No, but I mean to ask her directly, because she tends to do so many things at once that stuff gets overlooked.
Yeah, I think the delay really is that they're waiting for the grant to come.
Okay, that's all. I just want to confirm.
There are things that we probably could do to help. And I remember when we initially looked at the subject of organics collection at our transfer station, what we learned from webinars and others' experience was that you need to do a whole lot of information and consensus building, buy-in building in town. And so for us, I think that a good role could be, helping to push this out and to explain to residents and to help residents use the program. So when it's ready, I'd love to be of assistance in that way.
All right.
Okay, and then G, do we have any update on an ordinance that would enable Kent to purchase open space in other land? No.
Who's supposed to write that ordinance? We had samples. What's the next step?
The next step is for us to discuss it, but every time that we came to meeting to discuss it, people weren't ready. My sense is we wait for the POCD to be published and then we do it.
All right.
But I'm willing to entertain other opinions. I can either chair this commission or I can do some work, and I can't do both. So, that's, we're a democratic commission. We're all working on different aspects of the work. I appreciate all of your time. What we do that's in addition to what we're already doing is up to the bandwidth of you all to organize. Or someone can take the chair and write the minutes, and I'll take on a pet project, which I'd love to do. Just say the word.
Nice try.
I've been the chair for a very, very long time, and it's not great for us, and it's not great for me to continue that. So succession planning is probably something we should talk about. And really, like, if anyone else has the wherewithal to chair this commission and do the minutes, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, we're very grateful to you.
I don't want your dude. I'm just explaining that I can't.
I understand that you want to pass things on.
I really can't follow up on these things.
Yeah.
So.
But at least next month, at least starting next month, I can get the meeting notices out again, and you don't have to do that. So we'll be back on track.
That's great. And maybe we'll even meet in person at some point.
I think that there's going to be a lot of interest and need to use the downstairs large meeting room that's a hybrid meeting room. And so I'm not sure that we're all going to be able to meet in person. I suspect that everyone's going to start wanting to meet in person, and
I don't think we should waste time with that discussion right now. Let's just go on and see how it happens.
Right. Okay. So we're actually not doing badly at all for a meeting. We're really down at the bottom end of the agenda here under new business. And Melissa alluded to this a little earlier on. The item A is that I did find out through an op-ed that was posted on Facebook that there's been a legislative change enacted last year, in the short session. I looked it up right before our meeting. It is House Bill 5255, where there were 4 lines added to enable, basically what it does is it enables the governor to remove or to absolve rail companies of any liability if they allow a rail with trail use, which is one of the things that's been a real barrier to people working on the Who Bike Trail over the years. Even though it seems like one of the best routes to connecting Kent and Cornwall is using the rail line in some way. Route 7 is out of the question because of slopes and because of the placement of electrical poles. The Appalachian Trail seems like a non-starter, even though that also, holds some promise to people who don't work for the Appalachian Trail Commission. But this new law maybe could help us reopen discussions with the railroad to see about a placement of a trail next to the rail line. So,
it would have to be in the railroad corridor, I assume.
Well, yeah, it's the way that this works, Yos, is that, and you might remember Malone and McBroom did a study on this several years back. It was when Bruce Adams was first selectman. There was a presentation to the town, and they identified like 4 or 5 possible routes. And one of them was by putting, because the railroad is still active, it can't be like the traditional rail trail, but all over the country, there are these things that are called rails with trails, where they put the bike path on the side, so there's, either, some small barrier or, there's a certain amount of space, but it's proven to, to work and can be safe. I did just find
I just wanted to say one quick thing. I'm getting the message that the battery is low again. So if I tune out, then, it's nice to see you, and we'll continue, but so don't keep going, but okay. I may have to just be out of it.
Okay, Carol. Okay, I just wanted to show you all that I did look up the bill, and this is the language. If the commissioner deems it to be in the best interest of the state, the commissioner may indemnify and hold harmless any railroad company in connection with an interim trail use and rail banking arrangement pursuant to, and that's a federal statute reference, 49 CFR 1152.29. I did not have time to look that up. It took me a while to sort through these 30 pages of this bill, but effective July 1st, this is something that's new that the governor can do. So, maybe.
So would they have to build a whole sort of a shelf on the side, pour concrete, or how would, I don't quite figure out. I mean, the rails are set in a stone bed, and the stone bed goes out a certain distance, but not very far.
Yes, they build on that. I mean, we are talking about a project that's like, millions upon millions of dollars. So, it sounds about like
really expensive.
This could happen by next year. Yeah. This could probably not happen for 10 years, or you do.
Okay, I won't worry about it
at a time. But the logjam that was the railroad refusing to even come to the table may no longer be the obstacle that it once was.
Okay.
Okay, and then the second item of new business that I'm bringing to the agenda is the Follow the Forest Community Science linkage assessments and roadside wildlife, otherwise known as roadkill observations, data project that Paul Singer has been doing for HVA. So some of you probably know that I'm involved in Follow the Forest initiative, in my work at HVA. But Paul Singer, who is a TerraCorps and AmeriCorps service member, has been working with many schools, including Kent School, many of our high schools, to engage people in learning about how to assess the connectivity on either side of roads, basically, to look at linkages between habitats. And he's realizing that even though many linkages have been assessed, he needs more volunteers to do this. So I'm bringing this to you in case you might be interested in participating in data collection, kind of the way that we used to do when we do our stream assessments and look for the macroinvertebrates. And if so, if you have any interest in doing that, then Paul would come and teach us how to do it. It involves being observant about different things like embankments on either side of the road, guardrails, cover, vegetative cover, and speed of roads, things like that. The roadkill is another kind of online form that people can put like as an app on their screen of their phone to kind of take note and drop a pin when they notice that an animal's been killed, to try and identify, where some of those pinch points are. And ultimately, the point is about conservation. Certainly, it's about protecting land on either side of the road so that animals can move, so that we don't create deserts of, very little biodiversity, which would be bad for our ecosystem and for our future health. It's also about how we manage land, right? But it's also very much about infrastructure and the built environment, which is something that the P&Z should be caring about, because when you think about roadkill and the expense to municipalities, to to insurance companies, the safety expense to human life from hitting deer and things like that, it's not just conservation, or it is conservation, but it's not just about protecting land and taking good care of the environment. It's also about how we interact with the built environment. So that's my pitch. You can decide if you want to help. He needs volunteers. And if you just want to say, that's very interesting, we want to know about it, but we're not going to assess roadsides, that's fine too.
I'm interested.
Thanks, Mike.
Is that the kind of thing that we could just be on a limited basis of when we see a roadkill, we can report it and not have to be involved in a bigger thing? That sounds interesting. I mean, you need data. And from your end, if myself and my neighbor were reporting the same, dead raccoon in the middle of the road, you'd be able to discern that it's not two raccoons. I mean, it's the same raccoon.
Yeah, if it's the same, if it's the same exact location, the same exact,
they'll figure it out.
Within a day of each other,
they'll figure it out. Yeah,
they'll figure it out.
Do they use GPS locations?
They do. They use your GPS location.
Okay.
And I know that, Mike, you've already worked with Paul, with your Kent School classes, isn't that right?
I've been teaching classes that doesn't really work for, but we have an instructor who helped last year, and we have a new teacher who I think would probably be interested. I have chemistry now, so.
And we're working with Kent Center School to bring a class and let Paul work with a Kent Center School class too. So
yeah. I mean, he's really got people engaged all over the place in doing this, but he also, said, gee, wouldn't it be great if like you could just, you know, in a town, get every linkage in a town done, and middle school kids are not going to be able to do that because you have to take them to safe places and they're not driving their car by roadkill. They might, after, you know, learning about it, point out to their parents like, oh, you have to like log that in because, you know, I don't know, kids like roadkill. It's fascinating.
Only when they're hungry.
So, I mean, I could invite him to our October meeting, maybe tell him like 10, 15 minutes. Is that, are you interested enough to hear about it?
Yeah.
In that way?
Sure.
Okay. Great.
What's his last name?
Singer.
Oh, that's the full name.
Yeah. He went to Kent School and then went to college in California, Pomona. He's from New York City. And
is there written information? Has he written, are there pamphlets that we could read in advance? Is there anything about it yet?
There's a website.
There's
a website. Okay, perfect.
There's a pretty good website, and he probably would send like the evaluation forms, the assessment forms prior to the meeting so we could get a look at them. But do, you know, if you have a chance, check out the website because he built that all too. You know, it's really great. And the
website is Forest Community Science, or what is it?
No, Follow the Forest.
Oh, Follow the Forest. Okay.
Short, sweet, alliterative.
Is there anything else major I should hear before I'm losing it? This is it. I'm going to sign off.
No, I mean, there's one more item on the agenda, and that's correspondence. I included the correspondence from Stan Greenbaum, even though it is not addressed to us, does not, you know, ask us to do anything. And, you know, he just CCs all of the commissions. So I'm obligated to forward that on to you. I do not think we need to discuss it. You can tell me if you think anything needs to be discussed on that item of correspondence. All right. Well, so then if we have no further items to discuss, this would like be our shortest meeting in a long time.
Amazing.
I like it. It was, you know, packed with information, you know, but very efficient. So it is 7:58.
Okay.
And we will
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Melissa. Someone want a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Wendy. And before we meet again, oh, I guess somebody check the calendar. Our October meeting is right before the 15th. Wouldn't that be right?
Must be.
It has to be.
Well,
that's how the math works. Okay. So I'll see you all on the 12th, and we'll be looking forward to the 15th. Stopping.